So I saw a post, I believe it was on your Instagram a few days ago, and you shared a quote, and I thought this could be a good place to start about like the whole thought process and uh, the thought cycles that come with addiction. And your post that you shared said, "There's nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts." So I
Mm,
wanted to ask you, as an addict, and you describe yourself as a cocaine and alcohol addict, correct?
Yeah, those are my drugs of choice.
Can you describe the struggles that you've had dealing with those thoughts and those negative thought cycles and sort of like what that's been like for you?
Yeah, a lot of those thought cycles were avoiding. I mean, there's a lot of what it was. It would numb stuff. It was like the ultimate like painkiller in a way. Like, you didn't have to address anything, and when you're alone, it's like your thoughts just, man, they can go to bad places,
Yeah.
and they're not focused thoughts. And for whatever reason, a lot of times mine would drift just to really bad places. So I found the more that I drank and the more that I used, the more that it just kind of quieted it, and it didn't go to those places. It distracted me, made me feel alive. It made me feel temporarily happy, maybe. Um, Filled a hole I thought I had in my chest. And I didn't really realize that it was like making everything even worse.
Mm.
And it's a scary place just to be by yourself sometimes. You know, when you're around other people or you're doing things, your brain's distracted. But man, when it gets quiet, it gets quiet.
Yeah, when you're sitting there and I don't know what it's like to struggle with addiction to the level that you've been through, but I think everyone's familiar with that feeling where you have no distractions left. Maybe you're done for the day at work, or maybe you're in a quiet moment in the middle of the day and you're just like fucking off somewhere, sitting down, and then reality sets in where that first negative thought hits, and then all of a sudden that leads to another one and another one, and then all of a sudden you went from like maybe being somewhat happy 5 minutes ago to now you're just in this dark, never-ending deep cycle, and just sitting there with it, no matter how you choose to handle it, is something. Yeah, I don't know what that is like, because like it's such a buzzword thing to say. I deal with my negative thoughts. I do meditation, and I do mindful practices like that. But I don't know for sure if that's what helps me get out of it, or it just stops eventually, or like what that thing in my consciousness is that just like decides to go there and then it lifts all of a sudden.
hmm No, and it's finding ways to work around it, because like, mine can go from anything from like bills or money to now I'm a failure to now I'm failing to now all of a sudden what's the point? It's snowball effects from something so small into something huge, and then I'd become a little bitch and I'd be like, I just can't deal with this right now. And next thing you know, I'm drinking, and now to offset my drinking, cocaine played hand in hand with it. So now I'm doing coke, and this time would be different because I'll just do a little bit this time just to give me something to do. And 12 hours later, it wasn't just a little bit, and it just turned into a mad obsession every single
Yeah.
day.
Did you have at the beginning, did you have a threshold of the intensity of a negative thought that it seemed would require you drinking or doing coke or another drug, or was it just a negative thought and then you just like go right into it, or did it have to be like at a certain level?
In the beginning, I didn't self medicate, or I didn't realize that I was really self medicating.
Mm.
It was just fun. I just think like everybody else, it just starts off that, it's kind of fun. You want to fit in with everybody. I think people with ADHD struggle with it a little bit more than what a lot of people are. Because when you dive into how ADHD works, I was diagnosed at 13, re-diagnosed with ADHD at 17. And you have a lot of like rejection sensory. You have a lot of, you pull out all your character flaws a lot. You feel like you're failing, all this stuff. You want to try and fit in. You know that there's something wrong with your brain, and you don't know
Mm.
why you're not normal. And so drinking kind of makes you think that maybe this is normal. This is what normal is like. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel a little bit happy. You thrive on the dopamine rush.
Yeah.
And so at first it's just kind of like a party, and then all of a sudden you realize that you just don't kind of want the party to end, and all of a sudden at some point it flips. I don't know when it flips. Like for me, it flipped. I don't know, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And there would be, I'd set thresholds, but it's a joke as an addict. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have one big Dixie cup of vodka, or what was it? It was Captain and Coke. So I'd have Diet
Yeah.
Coke and so I'm pouring half a Dixie cup, half a fifth of Captain Morgan, and a little bit of Coke inside because I'm only going to drink one of these a night,
Yeah.
and that would last for like 2 days, and then I'd be back to like 2/5.